Hey there, we're going to create a graphical user interface, an application that has an interface that a user can enter information into, and then the program will react based on what's entered into a box. So a standard Java application here, this one is going to be called lowercase, and I've made a change here. I've unchecked this create main class box. We don't want this main class to be created. We're going to do something different because we're doing this graphical interface. So hope you're saving that in a good place, and you see once this project is created, here we go, that there is not the same amount of stuff here that you're used to. The source packages folder in the project doesn't really have anything in it. So right click on that, new, and we're going to create this JFrame form. So that's where all of this stuff is going to happen for this program. The class is going to be called lowercase, and the package with a lowercase letter at the beginning is lowercase. So now this is going to generate our .java file where everything will happen, but whoa, things are a little different. Because we're creating something graphical, this JFrame, NetBeans has given us a palette of stuff that we can stick in this design view. So you can just drag and drop the pieces you want and then write the code after things are created. The source code is still there. You can see clicking back and forth here, but we're going to be in design mode for a little while we put stuff in place. So what is our application for? We're going to give the user a text field right here, and I'll put it, you see the guides there, I'll put it in this corner a little ways away from the edge, and then a button, and when they press the button, this label right here will update to say whether or not the text they entered is lowercase text. So we're going to stretch some things out here, give ourselves some room on each of these components. So there's the first one, and I'm going to select all three. I did that by holding Control on my keyboard and clicking on them. Right click and then choose same size, same width, or I could have just stretched them out if I wanted to on my own, but these ones are all sort of connected now. And one more thing I want to do is resize the whole application so that it's a little tidier and everything's sort of centered. Alright, now I've got three components, and you can see down here in the navigator, three components are included in this JFrame now, but they have bad names. JTextField1 is not a very descriptive name for my for this text field. So I just hit F2 on my keyboard, or you can click on it a couple of times to make the name of the text field editable, and this one's going to be called the input text field, which I guess isn't all that descriptive either, but I only have one. Oops. F2 again. The button I'm going to call the is lowercase button, and the label is going to be called the results label. Alright, now you can see that that changed the names of those variables, but it did not affect what's on the design area up here, because these items, the words that you see in here, these are not the names of the variables. This is the text that these components are currently displaying to the user. And there are a couple of ways to change that. One is to just double click on it and modify it. I'm going to delete that one and press enter. Or when you click on an item, you can see down in the bottom right corner here that the properties become available. Let me show you. I'll click on a different one and it changes. So here's my button, and here is the text of the button. So what is the button's what is the text that's displayed to the user? And I'm going to put in this question: is this lowercase? And I press enter on my keyboard to set that, and you can see in the design view, is this lowercase is up there. So now you've got either one. You can either way you can edit that. So I'll do this last one here with some instructions. Enter text in the field above, then click the button. Okay, and one more thing I want to do. There are lots of properties here, and the one that I want to change is this horizontal alignment on my label. I want to make it centered, and so now the results will be centered underneath the button, and you can see the button is centered by default. Okay, see this little eye over the frame, and we're going to click that and we get a preview of our design. A little window with all the usual buttons across the top, a place to type, and a button and a label. And if I type something like my name and click the button, well, nothing happens yet because we haven't really written the how this thing should work part. So let's do that next. What we want to have happen is when the button is clicked, this label updates. So the action happens on the button. Right click on the button, choose Events, Action, and then Action Performed. This is going to take us into the code view. Okay, there's a lot of code here now, but we don't want to touch any of that other stuff. We only want to work inside of this method here, the is lowercase button action performed. You see how it's named it based on the name of my button, and if I change my button name, NetBeans is really clever and changes all of this for me. So what is this method going to do? It will test. So tests, the name of my field is input text field, to see if it's lowercase. Puts the result in the results label. So that's what my my method is going to do. Here's how we'll do it. We're going to grab the text out of the field, we're going to create a lowercase version of it, and then compare and see if the original version and the lowercase version are the same. If they are the same, then the original version was lowercase. So let's try that. We'll create a string variable to hold the string out of the text field. So the string is original, and we're going to get that from the text field by doing this: input text field dot, and then the method is called get text with a capital T on that in the middle there. So there's the first part, and then the string I'm going to call lower, which is the lowercase version of that. I'm going to get by taking the original string here, and I'm going to use a method. You can see a bunch popped up here. The one I want is called to lowercase with my brackets there, and that's it. So what I have is a string from the text field, and then a version of that string which is definitely lowercase but is otherwise identical, and then I want to test to see if these are the same. Now we're going to use an if statement, which we haven't done yet. It's new, but it's pretty straightforward. So if, and then we're going to use parentheses again, if the original, and I'm going to use a method here called equals. So original dot equals, oops, lower. And we're going to come back to exactly how this all works in a bit, but basically this is how we're going to compare those two things, and it's going to give us a Boolean, either true or false, as a result. If they're equal, then we want to update our results label to say so. So results label dot set text is how we do that in a label, and we stick a string in there, and we say, sorry, I need my quotation marks. Yes, it's lowercase. Okay, and I need a, oops, there's my curly brace to close that, and otherwise, so this is where I have my else statement, another brace to start that. Otherwise I'm going to do the same thing, except the text is going to be different. Set text to no, sorry. And that's the end of that. So a quick little check to make sure I sort of typed things correctly, spelled things right. Okay, I think it looks pretty good. So we're going to give it a shot. Okay, here we go. Now remember how we did not create a main class? We have one file in this package, and it's asking us, hey, which of these is going to be the one that's actually the application itself. So we're going to say OK to this. Let's see how we did. It's coming. There it is. So here's our application, and there's the starting text on the label, and let's try writing my name and then clicking the button. It's not in lowercase. What if I put in my name in lowercase letters? Aha, there we go. And lowercase letters are one thing, but what if I put in some symbols? Yes, that is still lowercase, but if I put a capital somewhere in there, it'll tell me no. That's great. Now the only other thing that I think we probably should have done is put a title on this program. So let me close this. That stops it from running. You can see there in the output area. Back to design view, and the frame itself, see I've clicked it kind of in the corner away from my other buttons and things. There are my properties for my frame, and I want a title for that. Right here in properties, title, is this lowercase is the name of my program. Okay, so it's all ready to go now, and that is the end of writing your first graphical user interface. And we actually did some pretty cool stuff. We put items into a design area, we relabeled and moved them around so that they look tidy, we labeled the program itself, and then we wrote some code that messed with strings and even used booleans with an if-else control structure. So that's pretty great. Try that out and ask any questions in the forums in the course if you have any. Thanks.